Something Valerio Olgiati once said has stuck in my mind ever since. What he said was, a building that can be read from the outside is a poor building. I found the radicalism of this statement fascinating, just as I find Valerio Olgiati's buildings fascinating. My name is Daisuke Kokufuda. I'm an architecture student from Tokyo. I'm now in Scharans, a village in the Domleschg Valley in Graubünden, where Olgiati has built a studio for the songwriter Leonard Bardill.
No two projects kick off in exactly the same way. Leonard Bardill rang me one day to discuss his project. He said he'd bought an old barn in the center of Scharans and wanted to do something with it, but didn't yet know exactly what.
We started off without any preconceptions. All I knew was that I wanted to convert this barn I had bought into a workplace, or garage, or a retreat. It was all very vague.
I said yes on condition that I wouldn't simply be converting the barn into a building that would still resemble a barn when it was finished. I insisted on demolishing it and building something new.
Ultimately, all I wanted was to get the architect's help to find out what I actually needed. And it took a lot of debating and 5 design models to get there. I know that sounds a bit crazy, and I'm not sure every architect would have put up with it.
So we drew up scheme after scheme, and it just went on and on and on.
We looked at all the options, from the tower to the garden.
Leonard is an intelligent and creative person and was always a great inspiration. I think we inspired each other with ideas about what the final outcome could be.
The
actual concept for the studio building was dictated by the budget. We knew we could build an open courtyard for roughly half the price of an indoor heated space. So it was Leonard's budget that ultimately determined the ratio of heated space to open courtyard that we now have. The outline of the old barn is a defining feature. The budget also determined the limits to which we could go.
The view of the sky through the elliptical opening has something monumental about it. The building's blank exterior, devoid of windows and roof, betrays nothing of the intriguing world inside.
Someone once told me that the building is very well behaved, but it behaves like a Bhutanese monk, somehow alien but on its best behavior. It ceased to be a barn, of course, and is now a house. But it's not the genuine article because it has no windows. In fact, it lacks more or less all the features typical of a house. It has blank walls, it has a hole, but no glass in the hole. You can look through the hole into a room and through the roof. In fact, there is no roof. The absence of these features transcends the traditional concept of a house. We're only ever fascinated by things we don't fully grasp, things that are open-ended and defy comprehension, also at a conceptual level. Another thing we wanted was to create the antithesis of a functional building, something with the character of a temple or place of worship. To do that, you no longer apply the usual functional requirements. Your aim is to orchestrate things that are surreal.
Every Friday, Linard Bardill throws open his doors to architecture lovers from across the globe. A building should blend harmoniously into its setting. That's what I learnt at university. But that doesn't bother Olgiati. His buildings are independent, uncompromising. It's his radicalism that makes him so interesting.
Beton.
In my experience, concrete is at its best in the colorless shades between white, grey and black. Otherwise, as I see it, reds and browns are the only colors that work. Viewed in the evening, for instance, the building assumes an earthen quality. In broad daylight, on the other hand, the red is very artificial. In fact, almost the opposite of earthen. In this way, the house constantly swings between virtual and absolute reality. These rosettes are an invocation of rural culture. They're not specific to the canton of Graubünden, and they're not urban in origin. What's more, you don't normally find rosettes like these on facades, but on chests, doors, and furniture. If you fix them to a house, they make it look like a big chest. As such, they have a distancing effect and achieve a leap in scale that definitely lends the building a more magical feel. The wood sculptor carved the ornaments into the formwork. We initially obtained a tender to have the cutting work done by robots, but that would have been far too precise and clinical. Concreting is a craft, and we wanted the ornamentation to capture this craftsmanship.
The aim was to produce unique hand-carved ornaments. Each has its own qualities. Though the motif is the same, no two ornaments are identical.
The crowning moment of the day comes at around 2 in the afternoon. That's when the sun shines exactly parallel to the main elevation, and the small shadows cast by the rosettes look like burning wheels racing across the facade. For me, that's an incredible moment.
Valerio Olgiati's office, which he built, is in Flims, a few kilometers away. I carry around the 3-kilogram book describing all his works. It's like a Bible. In Flims, I visit the Yellow Building, a legacy of Olgiati's father. Also an architect, it has been radically reworked. Olgiati hacked away the old plasterwork and gave it a lick of white paint. The Yellow Building can be seen as a rebellion against the domineering father figure.
I would describe all my buildings as being heavily regimented. They're subject to and defined by a strictly ordered regime. The important question centers on what things attract us. What is it that compels us to think? We only really start to think when we manage to escape from our conventional way of seeing things. And that requires a certain degree of provocation. With surreal or metaphysical architecture, sensing, experiencing, and interpreting also work through the interaction of opposites, by breaking through the taboos of convention.
Well,
the building has no roof. It gives the impression of having a pitched roof, a gable roof, but in reality it has no roof. That's often felt as a provocation, an insult to human reason, but I don't see it that way at all. It's not that the building has no roof, it just has a very large hole where the roof should be. The most radical thing about the Bardill house is the ratio between courtyard and interior. 1/3 habitable, 2/3 non-habitable space. That's actually an imbalance. And this imbalance is what we probably regard as the liberating feature. I would say it's a liberated house.
Get a move on. You're already 5 minutes late.